Naife Edebi. It's Business Around Town on the radio. We do this every weekday, Monday to Friday, where we talk business. And the Monday edition of the show, we talk about trending business topics. I mean, trending business news stories, what's making the rounds in the world of business. That's what we do every Monday morning. This is to help you to make the best decisions in your business, because you have to understand the policies, what's going on with our economy, what's the government saying, and all of that. That will help you to decide on what to do in your business. So today I have with me Segun Shokwiton. He is a principal partner, Woodridge and Scott Consulting. Good morning to you, sir. Yeah, it's a pleasure to have you today in the studios. Always a pleasure. Now, let's look at the Nigerian economy. We take a look at this story making the round in the Guardian newspaper. It says the federal government reduces unemployment on paper amid almost 10 million jobs deficit. Now, the writer says data gathering must consider local peculiarities. Carl insists. Adi also said it's irrational for unemployment to drop from 33.3 to 4.1% with GDP growth of 1.9%. Reforms adversely affecting economic growth, says Yusuf, and social impacts of economic reforms are devastating. Now, this is a write-up to the story. I know this is making the rounds. This is what a lot of people are talking about when it comes to business. The unemployment rate, the rate that was released, formerly from 33.3%, we now, is it a growth or is it upwards or downwards? If you look at the figure, it's supposed to be upwards, 4.1%. So that has got a lot of people talking that how did we arrive at this 4.1%? And they've given explanation to that. But one thing we should all note is that the unemployment rate, as in almost 10 million jobs deficit. There are a lot of people without work in Nigeria.
Yeah. I found this quite interesting. Initially quite confusing. You look at everything you know about the Nigerian economy as an expert in that field. I want to believe I know what I'm doing.
Because sometimes you begin to wonder.
Yes, you start doubting yourself. This is classical gaslighting. You look at it like, wait, what am I missing? How can unemployment fall from 33.1% pretty much overnight to 4.1%? It flies in the face of reason. Now, obviously, some gymnastics have happened, and what the explanation that the NBS has given is that they've redefined what employment means.
Okay.
So, in arriving at this unemployment rate.
Okay.
So,
okay. Go on.
In arriving at this unemployment rate, what the NBS has done is to adopt the definition of the International Labour Organization for employment. And ILO says that a person is employed if that person has worked for at least 1 hour in the last 1 week. So, and the NBS simply adopted this. Now, it's important to note that this is the methodology that most advanced economies use in defining their unemployment rate. So once you've had work for 1 hour in the last week, you are deemed to be an employed person and you are taken out of the unemployment bracket. So the NBS has just adopted what, typically is what you would call global standard. However, and this is the big thing, look, just like Dr. Ijeoma Egwuatu said, and instructively, Dr. Ijeoma Egwuatu is the former statistician general of the Federation and is the one that was in charge of the NBS when the last unemployment report was released in 2020. where it said that unemployment is 33.1%, and that's the rate we've been working with everybody in the economy, policymakers, business people, and whoever else is a stakeholder has been working with. And he came out to say, look, your methodology must reflect your local realities. So you cannot just say that, because ILO says that employment means that I've had 1 hour of work in the last 1 week, I will adopt that and use that to define employment in Nigeria. Question: what is the minimum wage in Nigeria compared to the minimum wage in France, Canada, the UK, Germany, and all other countries and regions and territories that use that definition in their data gathering methodology? It's a fraction. Our minimum wage is a fraction. So the argument will be in Nigeria. In fact, I will earn more. Potentially 3 hours of work in the UK at minimum wage is equivalent to 1 month of work in Nigeria. So let that sink in. So if the UK is using 1 hour per week to define their employment, how can Nigeria do so when the person in the UK who has worked for 3-4 hours will earn more than the person on minimum wage for a month in Nigeria? So clearly that methodology is deeply flawed. It's giving us data that does not reflect our reality, and that is the most dangerous thing you can do in policy making. If you make your data say what you want it to say, all your policies will be wrong, will be off target, and you will miss it by miles. And that's the mistake that we're making. So look at this statistic. Unemployment in Japan, using the ILO standard methodology, is 2.5%. In the US, it's 3.5%. In Nigeria, it's 4.1%. Right? This is according to StatiSense, and credible statistical organization. In the UK, it's 4.2%. So employment in Nigeria is better than in the UK. Hello. Nigeria must be El Dorado.
The argument is that your house help, for example, she's employed. Your organizer is employed. Yes, your cleaner is employed. Your errand boy is employed. That's what they are trying to say.
Yes,
as long as you are is employed.
But there are other statistics that we can use. I mean, let me just give you these numbers now. China unemployment is 5.3%. So in Nigeria, it's better than in China. Hello, unemployment is better in Nigeria than in Canada. It's 5.5%. It's better than in Germany. It's 5.6%. It's better than in Egypt, 7.0%. It's better than in France, 7.2%. It means that Nigeria has suddenly, somehow, magically become an amazing economy where there is no unemployment, basically. Because that's what we're saying. If it's only 4.1% of our workforce that is unemployed, it means that almost everybody is employed. And we know this is not true. It's a lie. So the MBS needs to be called to order and reined in. The worst thing you can do to this government is to give the government the impression, based on data, that everything is all right, when the truth, as we can all feel on the street, in the boardrooms, everybody can feel it. We know that we don't have enough jobs to match the focus of his policy formulation from trying to create jobs, because he'll say, we're in a good place. We're in a good place. So maybe let's try and shift our policy making to encourage productivity, for example. We have everybody working. Let's get them to produce more for us. Meanwhile, your truth is that you don't have enough people working. You have too many people not working, and you need to create policies that will bring them into the employment market. So you see how dangerous this thing can be. So I think that we have a serious problem on our hands.
The NBC, what they did, you hardly see somebody that is not doing anything in Nigeria. You hardly see, if you check your streets, they are always doing something, but that is not the employment we're talking about. So they went by everybody's doing something. Somebody's cleaning here, somebody is washing cars here. So they are all employed doing something. So they are not unemployed. That's what they use. But that is not the employment we're talking about. When you see graduate teaching for 25,000 naira every month, do you call that employment?
Exactly. I mean, it's important to juxtapose your employment data with your income level as a country. So the income structure in Nigeria is desperately skewed in the negative. There is also a data statistic that says that the average Nigerian, especially the ones on the lower rung of the ladder, are earning what they earn is just about let me rephrase that.
Yeah.
You require 5.2 times what you earn to meet your monthly expenses in Nigeria. There is a statistic like that. It's also measured on a global level. Nigeria is one of the worst. In other words, your minimum wage is inadequate to take care of your monthly expenditure in Nigeria. It's a fact. It's a statistical fact. So if you have that type of report on your income levels, you must ensure that your unemployment data reflects that reality. So if you tell yourself that the person that is a cleaner, the person that is, a vulcanizer, and whatever else, or all the menial jobs you have are employed, you are basically throwing them out in the cold and shutting the door on them, because the last report from the NBS, the one that said 33%, also defined underemployment to recognize people who indeed they have something they're doing, but they are doing things that are far below their skill level and earning far below what they could earn. Let's remember that what you earn, what your workforce and your working population earn, is a factor of the productivity of the country and a factor of your GDP and your growth. So it's important for a country to be trying to pull more people into the employment market, one, and to increase income levels so that the economy can do better. Consumption can increase. If consumption is going up, then inventory levels in factories will reduce. Nothing.
You don't have it's
so in
hustle.
the midst of all of that, you can decide to define that as, they're entrepreneurs. They don't earn wages, but they are earning revenues from their businesses. But the corresponding data regarding entrepreneurship, regarding income levels, regarding taxation will tell you that this is not true. So this Punch report is something that maybe the NBS would do well to query and help themselves, with the truth and the reality.
Why color the truth? The truth is the truth. So you just come out with the figures.
A spade will always be a spade. You can call it a shovel, you can call it a fork, you can call it a spoon, but the job that it does is what it will always do. You can't change that. So, this has done. I just pray this is not politics. For me, when I saw it, I thought, I hope this is not politicians trying to massage economic data. I really, really hope so. I hope this is just a professional error of judgment on the part of the Statistician General of the Federation. I hope there is no political undertone to this. If there is, then it's even then more doubly dangerous, because it would then mean that the political leadership is trying to create data that would make them look good in the eyes of whatever stakeholders that they're targeting with that image. So I really hope this is not political.
We'll just hope, but we will see in the coming days. Let's see what they will do about it. If they recall it, if they'll do something else. Let's see. We'll get to see the results very soon. And now, talking about results, the floating of the naira, I think that the results are coming in, because from here now it says that external reserve falls by $950 million after the naira floats. It falls by $915 million. The float.
It's a place that we have to arrive at some point. It's something that we must do if we will progress as an economy. The challenge is how we have gone about it. It's akin to the subsidy question. It's a place that we probably need to arrive at some point in the future. But how have we gone about it? So this managed float thing, first of all, it's clear that from this number, what we are trying to achieve, we really haven't achieved. We're trying to release the naira to market forces and let market forces of demand and supply determine its value. If we do that properly, funds will flow in both directions. Funds will come in and funds will go out, and equilibrium will be determined, and your value will settle there. But we are not doing it properly. We're not. So you say, instead of, if you want to float, I've always said, if you want to float, float. Remove all restrictions. let the market determine. Our purchasing power parity, the PPP value of our naira shows that the naira is more valuable than the exchange rates are saying it is. This is so key. So I don't have any fears that
you think so?
Yes.
If you do a floating,
if you
not
float
a
the naira,
float it, let the naira
just
stand.
let it
Demand
be on its
and
own.
supply.
Just release it to the market.
You think it won't get to
It will drop.
1,500?
The value will drop. It will take time. The first thing that will happen is that it will go up. You will hit 1,000. Maybe you hit 1,200 naira to the dollar. But if it's a true float where there are no exchange controls, the exchange controls is our problem in this country. The controls are too much. So if you remove those restrictions that the Trade and Exchange Department of the CBN is placing on the market, remove those restrictions and let the currency find its level, supply will come in. Because the only way supply can come is if people know that the demand will be met when they need to take their monies out. The problem we have now is that supply comes in, and when the money needs to go out, the restrictions keep the money in. So you are unable to take your money, your profits, you say you want foreign direct investment. How will the investment come when, if I invest my money in Nigeria, to send my profits back to where I brought the money from becomes a nightmare? I need to produce the left toe, bones of the left toe of my great-great-grandfather for me to take my own money out of the country. Take the exchange controls out, free up the currency, and you will see that within a 6-month period, this is just my random estimate, the value of the naira will find its level. It will definitely not be worse than where we are now. But there is fear.
There should be fear because
our policymakers are afraid.
No,
they
feel
feel it's a bit of a gamble.
We don't have a lot of investment coming in, bringing the dollar.
But I've told you why. There are restrictions.
Do you think that the restriction is the reason?
Nobody has been able to prove otherwise to me that, if you take the restrictions out, that inflows will not come. Nigeria is a potential investment destination. The opportunities in Nigeria are ridiculously high. Why? Because of the chaos. There are too many things to fix. There are business opportunities in all sectors, and all of these business opportunities can attract billions of dollars. Just take any sector, transportation and logistics. Automation of transportation and logistics can attract billions of dollars in inflows. The health sector, emergency deployment in the health sector can attract billions of dollars. Just take anything, e-commerce, and I'm talking tech alone. Go into hospitality, the tourism industry. Just think about all the tourist attractions that we have. Remove the northeast and the northwest from that equation. Limit it to the south-south, the southwest, the southeast, and the north-central, where at least there's some, I don't know about north-central, where there's some relative security. You have enough natural endowments that can be converted to investment opportunities that will generate billions of dollars in foreign investment flows. Why are those investments not coming? It's an intricate mix of bad policy making and the fact that when your money comes in, you can't take it out. So all of this, if you put all of this together, create the right policy environment, and then free up your... So the thing is that you can't just free the currency, the value of the currency to the market forces if the policy framework is also not right. So there has to be coordination to this, but if you get your policy formulation process right and you free up your currency, it will find its true value, and its true value will be better than where we are now. So people keep talking about our lack of export base, and that's our problem. I've never agreed with that. It's not the fact that we don't export enough. We are exporting, right? Our net trade balances sometimes go into the positive, sometimes go into the negative. We export oil, we export services and all of that. We can do far better, and we need to do far better. But beyond the export, what we need is to attract liquidity into the market. The liquidity is not coming because the controls are too much. So I've said, if you want to free up float the naira, release your exchange controls and see whether liquidity will not come in. So this managed float, what's happening now is that the CBN is using our reserves to maintain an artificial hold on the value of the naira.
The question is for how long?
For how long? How sustainable is this? Meanwhile, You know about the report with regards to the encumbrances that actually exist on these reserves that we're talking about. That indeed our true level of reserves is just about $3.7 billion. And we have spent $1 billion already defending this managed float. How long can this go? Because we have loans and other on these same reserves that we're talking about. And yet we say we want to do managed float, where the CBN is defending the Naira by intervening in the market periodically. We don't have the resources to maintain this. So, meaning, that's why some analysts said, and we spoke about it, I think, last week or 2 weeks ago, that this will crash. If we continue down this pathway, the Naira is in danger of collapsing catastrophically, where you would see the Naira exchanging to the dollar well far above 1,000 Naira in a very short time span. So we've got to be very careful with this.
Okay, we'll go pay some bills now. When we come back, we'll continue this conversation and we'll open the phone line so you could join in and let's get to hear from you. So we'll go for this commercials. We'll be back after this.
Are you looking for the perfect getaway?
Look no further than the luxurious accommodations at Airport Golden Tulip Hotel, Lagos, number 42, Muritala Muhammad International Airport Road, Lagos.
Relax and unwind in a beautifully appointed rooms featuring all the amenities you need for a comfortable stay.
Whether you're traveling for business or pleasure, our attentive staff is here to ensure that your everyday need is met. We also offer complimentary pick-up and drop-off from the Lagos airport.
Take advantage of our state-of-the-art fitness center, outdoor pool, and enjoy a delicious meal at our on-site restaurant.
With stunning views, world-class service, and a prime location, Airport Golden Tulip Hotel, Lagos is the perfect choice for your next vacation or business trip.
So, why wait? Book your stay today and experience ultimate in comfort and luxury at Airport Golden Tulip Hotel.
For bookings and reservations, please call 0815-8003-333 or 0815-7003-333. You can visit our website at airportgoldentuliphotel.com.
Airport Golden Tulip Hotel, where luxury meets comfort.
The award-winning pizza in the US is now here in Nigeria. Ladies and gentlemen, I present to you Romeo, the pizza champions, and cold berry ice cream, delight in every scoop. Visit any of our outlets and feel the rich taste from the pizza champions and cold berry ice cream at 11 Road by First Avenue, Festac Town, 28 Adenira Ogunsanya Street, Surulere, 13 Admiralty Way, Lekki Phase 1. Romeo's Pizza and cold berry ice cream. Romeo, the pizza champions. Are you aware that Iruka Online Limited installed and designed a 100,000 capacity church building? Oh yeah, we are the sole distributors of global leading brands all over the world, such as Wafday Light Array, speakers and digital amplifiers, Preseno's digital mixers and studio equipment, Coswell workstations and keyboards, Fender Greeters, Mapex drums, Ashdown bass combos, just to mention but a few. We offer flexible payment plan handled by our financial department with 24/7 customer care support system. You can visit our website on www.iruka.com to avoid buying fake products. You can also visit our showroom at number 36 Lagos International Airport Road beside Golden Tulip Hotel. Iruka, never settle for less.
You're the number one station.
The Voice of the People, 90.3 FM. Do not touch that dial.
This is Voice of the People 90.3 FM. You're listening to Business Around Town. It's 2 minutes past 10. The phone lines are open now. 0700 903 903 9. That is the number 0700 903 903 903. You could call in and be part of the program or send in a WhatsApp message to 0700 903 903 9. We've been speaking with Segun Shukmiton. He's a principal partner at Woodridge and Scott Consulting. Now we have another news here that says servicing debt with 90% revenue path to destruction, said our president. He said the country cannot continue to service its 90% of its revenue. He noted that the country was headed for destruction should that continue. That's what he spoke. So, meaning the president is aware of where we are as a country. Now, the issue we are having here is, now that you know where we are, this is what he's saying. What's the way forward?
Exactly. I agree with the president. We do have a serious debt problem that we were plunged into, with reckless glee.
like a car without a brake.
Like a child
in a marketplace.
A child in a sweet shop. Like, just dip your hand inside this one, take it, eat it. Take this chocolate, eat it. That's what the former president did.
Just to digress, do you think former president should be brought to book? Because some Nigerians are calling that bring the former president, because where he took us to, he needs to explain.
Look, the man led you to the best of his ability and with the fullness of his capacity, and it just wasn't enough. He didn't commit any crime. So you can't bring him to book. He ran the country the way he thought was best, and he did some good things. Look, no matter how you put it, nobody can deny the truth. He did some good things. Unfortunately, he did more harm than good. And what Nigerians should have done was to have brought him to book by rejecting his party, because he was on a second term. So you can't punish him by saying, I will not vote for you again. That would have been the punishment. But then he came on the platform of a party. So Nigerians should and could have punished him by rejecting his party. Since we didn't do that, the man has done his bit. He has gone.
And the party even said, I'm going to continue from where where he stopped.
So that's our reality. So let's leave the gentleman alone. He's in Daura, or maybe he's even in Niamey. Who knows? So now we have our reality is our reality. 90% of our revenue, sometimes, in fact, in some months, is 110. 105% of our revenues go into debt servicing in some months. So it's a very serious problem. So yes, that's the problem. Now, there are two solutions, potentially. One, reduce the debt obligation. How? Maybe. Is it possible? I'm not sure. I'm not exactly an expert in structured finance, especially international structured finance, right? So is it possible to engage experts in this field and find a way to renegotiate those deals? We are a sovereign nation.
Our debts, to
yes,
renegotiate our
so
debts.
that we can reduce the debt burden,
like
the debt obligations.
Like Obasanjo did.
He didn't renegotiate, he paid off. That's different. So we don't have the resources to pay off now.
But the president did not say what he's going to do. He just said it here, making headlines. We cannot continue his destruction. So what do you want to do?
So one of the things they could do is potentially, maybe, I'm not sure, we should ask some further questions and think along that line. Can we renegotiate the debt? Can we renegotiate the payment obligations, the tenor, and and all of that? Maybe even the pricing. Is it possible? Of course, you can always renegotiate any agreement. So why not? So if we can drop from 90% to say maybe 60% or 50% just by renegotiation alone, then you would have targeting as the percentage of revenues that goes into debt service obligations. So if we say it's 10% or if we say it's 5% and you're able to shave off 30% off where we are now by renegotiation, oh great, that's one step. The other thing you can obviously do is to increase revenues. Now that is going to be painful. That will require a lot of creativity in order not to trigger a vicious cycle of where you are so overtaxing your population, your citizens, that productivity and growth becomes hampered.
Are you not sure that might be the part the
No,
president
that's
will take?
the obvious and easiest path.
After listening to this, I was like, look at the way you're breaking it down, and that we should do this, we should do that. That's what we expect the president to tell us. But look at the speech he gave. He said, to build a great nation, we must make bold decisions, even though it may be painful at the moment. It's not about you and me. It's about our generation yet unborn. So on the line, painful at the moment. So
he's already giving the signals now. He's already telling us what's coming.
More painful than what it is now.
Yes, absolutely. We're nowhere near the level of pain that is coming. It's good because look,
there's this subsidy that we haven't recovered. We're still in it,
which may still get worse anyway, because we're still kind of hanging on. That story is still being told, so it might get worse. The pump price of petrol is likely to go higher. It's likely to go higher. So except if we reintroduce subsidy, which I suspect we even have already. So that's a different conversation. But we're saying that in order to fix this revenue problem, the government will have to introduce either introduce more taxes or widen the tax net. Either way, you will get more people will have to pay more money to the government, and it will be painful. Now, in an economy where productivity is low, unemployment is high, poverty is very high, how do you generate more revenues for the government? So it's I don't envy the president at all.
We'll talk more about that. Let's take calls, because let's just take calls. Hello, good morning. Hello, good morning.
Good morning.
Yeah, good morning to you. What's your name and location, sir?
Okangbeluna is my name.
Okay.
I'm in Mafuluku.
Okay, go ahead. What's your take on this?
You people the devil members, and we've been trying, and you're just talking. That's not the best now. You rather listen to yourself.
You are here now. Please go ahead because of time.
Mr. Analyst, good morning.
Good morning, sir.
You told us that the only thing we would have done is to reject the party after a woeful performance by the former president.
Yes.
You can only say that when the selection process, when the election itself is free and fair.
Yeah.
You have elections in Africa that are predetermined. Everything about the election is playing to the whims and caprices of the person in power. So how do you want us to reject somebody who didn't perform? It doesn't work. Not in Nigeria, not in most places in Africa. So that's the challenge we have. Because if the I don't think we are the way we are today. That's it. And for the people who are saying that we're only 4%, have only 4% unemployment, I wish them good luck. Bye-bye.
Thank you very much
my
your
quick response to that gentleman is all eyes on the judiciary.
I think it's on the 16th of September.
That's my response. All eyes on the judiciary. So let's hope that the judiciary will do what it's supposed to do, and let's hope that the correct outcome comes out.
And Nigerians would accept the judiciary, whatever outcome.
Yes, whatever the outcome. No, we won't have a choice. Whatever the judiciary eventually concludes at the Supreme Court level, we will not have a choice. We have to move forward. So let's just, for the gentleman that's called, let's hope that he gets the outcome that he believes should be the outcome when the judiciary speaks.
Let's take more calls before they say I don't pick calls. Hello, good morning to you.
Good morning.
Yeah, good morning. What's your name and location?
I'm calling from Ikotu, and my name is Rollins.
Okay, Rollins, go ahead.
When I heard the news last night, I was in deep shock when I heard about the 90% debt payment. I don't have to explain it. But however, I understood that it means you need 100 naira and you use 90 naira to pay your debt. And it now means that the 10 naira is not enough to run your daily expenses. I applaud the president and just see the problem, but the problem is still is half solved for me. Once I know I have a problem, it's half solved. But I still want him to find a way so that, because you cannot make 10 naira and use 9 naira to pay that. It's on the high side. It's kind of to use that. That's why I don't have to have the funds I will use for find a way out, because I don't think it's possible. However, I must applaud the president for that.
Yeah.
No matter how bad he is, that one at least he has done something that is meaningful. I must applaud for that one.
Okay, applaud him. Hold on, applaud him for saying that 90% is you can't use 90% to pay debt or what?
I feel like it's one of our problems that our debt, that what the past government has done to us is really not good. But the past government was actually making money without investing the money. But if they have actually borrowed this money, if they have actually borrowed this money and have actually invested it in our refinery, as we make money we pay. But now the money cannot be accountable. The money is not even there until we are paying them.
Thank you very much. I appreciate you. Yeah, he's applauding the president for at least saying what the problem is. 90%. We can't use 90% of our revenue to service debt. That the money must come from somewhere.
Yeah, absolutely.
We have to still pay the debt.
Absolutely.
0700 903 903 903. That's the number to call in and join the conversation, or you could send in a WhatsApp message 0700 903 903 9. Now, other news here making the rounds. I think let's take a break from the calls. I'll pick calls later. But let's look at this one here. It's from the Vanguard newspaper. It said government efforts failing as food import rise by 122%. Deficit hit 4.9 trillion naira. Now, despite the continuous government effort to store up food production in Nigeria through various intervention programs, the country recorded worth 4.92 trillion between 2018 to 2022. Available data shows that Nigeria is not growing enough food for the populace, leaving the country with an option, but no option but to import. Now, I know the Buhari administration really gave a lot to agriculture. If you look at the books, you see that he tried to help us to be a producing economy, to produce our own food, encourage made in Nigeria product and all of that. But it didn't really work, because if it works, we will not be seeing 122%. That is a serious problem, and 4.9 trillion naira. And even right now, we are still importing food. We can't generate enough food from Nigeria with the land that we have. We still import palm oil. We import a lot of things into the country.
Sadly, I mean, it's very sad. You know, this speaks to the problem, the real problem of the Nigerian situation, or the Nigerian story as we speak today, is a lack of visionary leadership. You know, at the end of the day, you just simply can't talk about these things outside of that. We had the Anchor Borrower project, and the news out there now is that all of the loans that were disbursed, maybe not all of it, but a good chunk of the loans that were disbursed are not coming back, because the people that collected the monies did not use them for the purpose that they were, given, the loans for. There are a lot of other interventions, fertilizer programs, seed program. We heard about all of these things under the Buhari administration, and it looks as if those things didn't achieve the desired effect. We locked our borders for years, just to encourage local production of things like rice and other produce, chicken, turkey, and all of that. And it didn't work. Why? Because, one, the policies were not implemented correctly. Some of those policies were wrong. The border closure was a terrible policy, in my opinion. And underlying all of that is the fact that those things that were done not with the best intentions and the common good in mind. They were done to pursue interests. So, of course, we didn't achieve the outcome, the desired results. Of course, at a point, our production started going up. So what happened? Why do we still have these heavy deficits? Why didn't we continue that upward trajectory? Maize, millet, rice. Of course, you talk about the different oils, poultry, and so on and so forth. We import everything. Why? Right? So I think that talking about production has to be the focus of this president. And that's where I am worried. So when the president, for example, in the last story that we just spoke about, talks about the the fact that we just simply are not generating enough revenue and we cannot continue to use 90% of our revenues to service debt obligations. What's the solution? So you have to tax. But tax what? Tax who? If you focus your policy energies on production and productivity, you create wealth and you create a taxable base instead of trying to strangulate the ones that you currently have who are already struggling to make ends meet, whether you speak about businesses or about individuals, whether you're talking about payee or about corporate income tax or VAT or any other type of tax that you have out there. The solution to our problems is productivity. We need to produce more. So if you do that, then this deficit will go away. What policies can we implement in the short to medium term that will boost agricultural productivity dramatically? That's the kind of thing we need to be talking about. Those are the kind of things we need to be hearing from the president. Good enough, fortunately for all of us, in spite of everything, all the drama that we've had. We're still only 3 months into this administration, He hasn't been there for 3 years. So there's still, and the cabinet just got inaugurated last week. So
you could say the president is still very young in office.
Early days. And all of these conversations we're having, one would hope that the right people are listening and they can channel their efforts in the right direction. Look, what we need today, there is no shame. Whatever happens at the judiciary with regards to the elections, we know the elections were very fractious, and all of that. They're over now. We're in the judiciary. Let us assume that the judiciary affirms this president and he stays there for the next 4 years. There is no shame in borrowing some of the things that some of the other candidates had been saying. So this issue of production that I'm talking about is if there was ever a magic bullet to solve the problems and slay the monster, it's production and productivity. That's what Nigeria needs. So the focus of policy formulation now shouldn't be revenue generation. It should be productivity. It will take a little time for it to come. So you find short-term solutions to keep us going and keep us afloat. That's why, for example, I didn't mind the idea of the $3 billion loan from Afrexim as a short-term intervention for a desperate situation. So we may need to have short-term solutions like that while we continue to boost the productivity of the economy, while we're targeting GDP growth rates that are tending towards double digits. And you can achieve that very quickly if you are resolute, if you are honest with your actions and policies, if you are not serving private and specialized interests, but serving the common good. These things can happen pretty quickly, right? So if we do that, then you find that revenues will be the natural outcome. Seek ye first, productivity, and all these revenues be added onto you.
But the president has, I think, spoke some time ago that what we have is a revenue problem.
It's not. It's a productivity problem.
But he said we need to get in more revenue.
We need to produce more. When we produce more, revenues will come. So I agree with him that we have a revenue problem. It's a revenue problem, but it's not the problem. The problem is that Nigeria is not a productive economy. We're not a productive country. We don't produce anything. We don't, and I'm not talking about exports. It has nothing to do with exports. Just produce. Stop importing food, for goodness sake. Stop importing toothpicks. Let's produce these things. And to make that happen, some things need to happen. You need to fix power. You can fix power very quickly. It's not rocket science.
Before we go, we have barely a minute. I'd like you to just speak on what Nuhu Ribadu said over the weekend, that Nigeria is still losing 400,000 barrels of crude oil daily. That's what he said. That's major.
Now we they talk.
That's major.
That's exactly what we're just talking about. So who? Goodness gracious. How can we be losing 400,000 barrels of crude daily? How is that possible? Do we understand the intricacy?
Because you can't hide. This is not something
you hide in your pockets. It's not something that can be done in the dark. It's impossible. These things are going to be done in broad daylight. So this is a conspiracy. And the president, look, let's stop deceiving ourselves. If the president is serious about fixing this country, the tough decisions and the tough actions he needs to take, he's facing the wrong direction. He's facing the people. He's facing Nigerians. He's facing poor people. and taking tough decisions that are
the
making them
question is,
poorer.
can this president, our president now, fight the
I
corruption?
don't care. He's our president. He has to. So he needs to shift his attention from the people, from taking hard decisions that make life more difficult for the people, turn his gaze to just about a group of, let me be very magnanimous, a group of 10,000 people. They're not, my sister, they're not up to 1,000 in this country. The people that we need to fight. Let's say that it's even 10,000. The president needs to shift his gaze to that 10,000 and deal with this systemic rot. How can we be losing 400,000? Do you know how much that comes to per annum? About 20 to 25 billion dollars lost, just that small quantity. What are we talking about? So if we do all of those things, our revenue, imagine what that would do to the revenue issue. Just that one alone.
Thank you. Thank you so much, Segun Shokbito. He's the principal partner, Woodridge and Scott Consulting. It's always a pleasure speaking with you. Our time is up. Thank you so much for sending in your messages. This one is from Mr. Major from Imo. Said, for you to be exact on 400,000 barrels of crude oil stolen in one day simply means that you know the thief. Mr. Mayor from Imo State, thank you for your contribution today. And to you for calling, thank you. For listening, thank you. My name is Mary Onaife Edebi. I'll be here again tomorrow, same time, for another edition of the program. Keep it here. This is the Voice of the People, 90.3 FM. Coming up next is Area Matter.